हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू आवर यूट्यूब चैनल। और आज का जो हम टॉपिक कवर करेंगे, हम एम एन रॉय के बारे में बात करेंगे। उसमें हम उनके रेडिकल ह्यूमनिज्म के बारे में और उन्हें कैसे गांधी को उन्हें क्रिटिसाइज करा था काफी सारे ग्राउंड्स में, और उनका क्या एक सिग्निफिकेंट कंट्रीब्यूशन रहा है हमारे नेशनल मूवमेंट पे। सो लेट्स स्टार्ट. But before that, we have the biggest surprise ever for every UPSC aspirant. So let's see what's a surprise. So under this, you will get UPSC CSE optional category also. अब इसमें जो स्टूडेंट्स है और जो यूपीएससी एस्पिरेंट्स है, उनको एक सेपरेट ऑप्शनल कैटेगरी भी है कि वो अप्लाई कर सकते हैं और वो ये सब्सक्रिप्शन यूज कर सकते हैं सिर्फ इसके लिए, यूपीएससी ऑप्शनल कैटेगरी के लिए, और ये अलग से भी ले सकते हैं और इसको टोटल पैकेज के साथ भी ले सकते हैं। तो ये एक बहुत बड़ा सरप्राइज है सारे एस्पिरेंट्स के लिए जिन्हें सिर्फ ऑप्शनल पेपर के लिए अलग से पढ़ना है और उनके लिए वो अप्लाई सब्सक्राइब कर सकते हैं। सो हमारे क्या बेनिफिट्स है एक नए ऑप्शनल कैटेगरी में इसमें लाए। पहली चीज तो ये कि हमने बहुत डेडिकेटली हमने फोकस करा है जितने भी ऑप्शनल सब्जेक्ट की प्रिपरेशन कैसी होनी चाहिए और क्या स्ट्रैटेजीज होंगी। इसके साथ हम टेस्ट सीरीज और आपको मटेरियल भी प्रोवाइड करेंगे। उसके बाद हमारे कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव और एनहांसमेंट कोर्सेज हैं ये, जिसमें आपको ऑप्शनल के साथ आपको ऑप्शनल टेस्ट सीरीज भी मिलेगा और सारे जितने भी ऑप्शनल कोर्सेज है या फिर वो लाइक ऑनगोइंग है या फिर वो कंप्लीटेड है। सो दिस इज लाइक रियली गोइंग टू हेल्प एवरीवन जिन्हें सिर्फ ऑप्शनल कैटेगरी या फिर जिन्हें सिर्फ ऑप्शनल सब्जेक्ट का सब्सक्रिप्शन लेना है। और हमने डबल डाउट क्लियरिंग सेशंस भी दिए जिसमें आपको पीडीएफ मटेरियल भी प्रोवाइड होगा। तो इस ऑप्शनल में आपको बहुत सारे बेनिफिट्स मिलने वाले हैं। उसके साथ साथ हम आपको बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट इंफॉर्मेशन देने वाले हैं कि जिनके पास ऑलरेडी ये सब्सक्रिप्शन है, जो इन्हें एक्सेस लिया अनअकैडमी में यूपीएससी में, उनको एक फ्री एक्सेस मिलेगा वो ऑप्शनल कैटेगरी में तब तक जब तक उनका सब्सक्रिप्शन लास्ट ना हो। और उसके बाद जिन्हें एक्चुअली ऑप्शनल को सब्सक्रिप्शन को अवेल करा है सेपरेटली, उनको भी इसमें सब्सक्रिप्शन वो लेंगे जो अलग से होगा, और जो ऑप्शनल कैटेगरी होगा उनको भी ऑप्शनल कोर्सेज अवेलेबल होंगे जो ऑनगोइंग होंगे या फिर कंप्लीटेड होंगे। और हम जो फोकस कर रहे हैं, हम पब्लिक एडमिन पे कर रहे हैं, ज्योग्राफी, सोशियोलॉजी, एंथ्रोपोलॉजी, फिजियोलॉजी, वी हैव फिलोसफी, साइकोलॉजी, लॉ, मैनेजमेंट, एग्रीकल्चर, जूलॉजी, कॉमर्स, अकाउंटेंसी, लिटरेचर ऑल्सो, एंड वी हैव मेनी अदर ऑप्शनल सब्जेक्ट्स इन दिस। एंड ये जो प्लान है, जो ऑप्शनल सब्सक्रिप्शन प्लान है, वो जिनको अलग से लेना है ऑप्शनल यूपीएससी सीएसई ऑप्शनल के लिए, उनका जो है वो 5000 होगा और जो जीएस के साथ लेंगे उनका 9000 होगा। और ये जो रेट्स है वो 6 मंथ, 12 मंथ, 24 मंथ्स और 26 मंथ्स के थ्रू है। और ये जो प्राइस है वो 24 अक्टूबर के बाद इफेक्टिव हो जाएंगे और आपको 10% का डिस्काउंट मिलेगा बाय सिंपली यूजिंग दिस कोड, दैट इज द SIMPLEYT। तो जो भी हमारे व्यूअर्स है जो एक्चुअली देख रहे हैं और जिन्हें सब्सक्राइब करा है, तो ये बहुत बड़ी इंफॉर्मेशन, तो इस वीडियो को जरूर देखिए। और एक और चीज है जो हम इंट्रोड्यूस करना चाहते हैं कि ये जो ऑल लर्नर सब्सक्राइबिंग है वो जेएस कैटेगरी में टिल 31 अक्टूबर ये कॉम्प्लीमेंट्री होगा ऑप्शनल के साथ साथ। और जो 31 अक्टूबर तक सब्सक्रिप्शन लेगा उसको सारे ऑप्शनल पेपर्स में उसको सब्सक्रिप्शन उसका फ्री है। वो कोई भी ऑप्शनल पेपर्स पे पढ़ सकते हैं और उनको सबको फ्री मिलेगा, मतलब उसे सारे स्टडी मटेरियल, टेस्ट सीरीज वगैरह सब मिलेगा। ये उन स्टूडेंट्स के लिए बहुत बेनिफिशियल जो एक्चुअली कंफ्यूज होते हैं 2 या 3 सब्जेक्ट्स में कि कौन से ले। तो यहाँ पे आपको थोड़ी कंफ्यूजन आपकी दूर होगी कि आप जो सब्जेक्ट्स हैं जो आप यूज कर सकते हैं, कि आप कोई भी 2 सब्जेक्ट्स से स्टडी मटेरियल, टेस्ट सीरीज उठा के देखें जिसमें आपका ज्यादा इंटरेस्ट है, आप वही सब्जेक्ट चूज कर सकते हैं। तो आपको ये देखिए कि जब 31 अक्टूबर है तो ये ऑप्शनल फ्री है जेएस के लिए, और जो उसके बाद है, जो ऑप्शनल 31 के अक्टूबर के बाद है, वो इसमें आपका जो वो पैकेज है वो फ्री नहीं होगा। तो आपको अगर ये पैकेज चाहिए तो प्लीज अभी आपको सब्सक्राइब करना है हमारे जेएस के लिए, जिसका आपको ये ऑप्शनल साथ में मिल जाएगा। So let's start with our topic. So as we know that M.N. Roy was a revolutionary terrorism, as we know he was inspired by this, and he was like politically he was very active, and he was he was like entrusted with the task of receiving by a German steamer that was carrying the arms of a revolutionary terrorist. So this was in 1914. He attempted to basically smuggle the arms in the ship that actually failed, and the plan for an armed insurgents against the British was also aborted. So he tried to like procure all the arms from China, but that also does not succeed. So he inducted into a revolutionary terrorist movement in Bengal, and Roy appeared to have like endorsed all these terrorist methods in the nationalist campaign for the freedom. So this was like, however, very short lived, because as he actually realized himself that all these revolutionary organizations were eventually crushed or prevented from constituting any danger because they were relied upon the conspiracy upon the revolutionary forces. So Roy escaped to America, and where he was introduced to the new pact of like socialist ideas that was going around the world, and later he participated in the formation of the Communist Party of Mexico. So it was his involvement over there in the Communist Party of Mexico which actually gave him an opportunity to participate in the second Congress of the Communist International. So his ideas are basically inspired from communism and socialism. And in 1927, he redefines the Lenin's draft thesis also on the national and colonial question that immediately like questioned him and made him a celebrity in the political circle. So let's see that how there was a transition from the Marxism to the radical humanism. As we know, the M.N. Roy was a representative of Communist International. He was also like a delegation he led a delegation to China in 1926. So soon he fell out with the Communist International leadership and he was expelled from the common intern in 1929. So when Roy returned to India in 1930 with the sole goal of participating in the national struggle, so during his 1930 to 40 period, he was involved with the nationalist movement. So this was like the honeymoon which was over from 1940 when the Roy was founded his own party that was also known as the Radical Democrat Party, and it was actually trying to provide a very like combined platform for involving all the peasants, workers and petty bourgeois so that they could like make the revolution and get some changes into our society. So in 1948 he dismantled his party and he founded a new movement for a radical or a new humanism. So it was evident clearly from a small like biographical account that the Roy's political journey from a revolutionary to terrorism to radical humanism was like a quite a very exciting journey because it allowed him to conceptualize his radicalism into different perspective. And this critical like alternative to Lenin's draft thesis on nationalism and colonialism was based on an attempt to understand Marxism in the context of colonialism. So he opposed to the ideology of the Indian National Congress because he suggested that they were the future of the Indian liberation movement that were dependent on the participation of the neglected section of the society. So while he was like commenting on the basis of the national struggle, Roy also said that the future of Indian politics will be determined by the social forces which still remain and will always remain antagonistic to the imperialism, even if the new era was dominated by the high ideals of Swaraj within the empire. So he made a direct attack on Gandhi's ideas also over here. So we can see over here that he was very strongly convinced that as his draft and thesis on the national and the colonial questions, he actually demonstrates that the mass movements in the colonies are basically growing very independently of the national movements, and the masses distrust the political leaders who always led to an astray and prevent them from any revolutionary action. So while he was like pursuing his like argument further, he also underlined that the growing importance of the proletariat in the political movements was there against the imperialism. So now let's talk about his critique of Gandhian thought. So he criticized openly about the Gandhian thought because he like first he overall like made an assessment of the national and the colonial question that appears to provide like a very basic theoretical framework to Roy by assessing Gandhi and his political ideology. So M.N. Roy basically provided the best and the well argued Marxist criticism as to Gandhi's social and political ideas, where it was clearly evident in the Congress in 1920s, especially the following when he made appearance of the Mahatma, was clearly articulated by the Roy while commenting on his socio-economic circumstances of India under colonialism. So while he was like articulating his own views, Roy stands very different from him because he conceptualizes the nationalism for a very from a Marxist perspective. So apart from his like ideologic conviction, he also said that the larger colonial context seemed to have obviously like cast a very significant influence on the Roy's radicalism, and he sought to like redefine the ideological goal of the national bourgeoisie in India. So the Roy played a very significant different role than other radical because it attempted to mix the nationalism which actually he drew from his Marxist ideas. So he also gave a very peculiar theoretical twist to the Roy's conception by radicalism by underlining the impact of the nationalist and the national and the Marxist ideas. So the conceptualization was based on nationalism and Marxism, which brings out a very innovative idea by identifying both the astonishing like daring of the Royals radicalism and the tragic heteronomy within its whole historical consciousness. So Gandhianism was and his ideology, according to him, was the most important ideology of the collaborations within the nationalist movement, and his inability of Mahatma to comprehend all the changing nature of a social political forces that actually opposed to the prevalent nationalist movement that remained to the root of its failure. So, by sharing Gandhi's criticism of the capitalist civilization, Roy was also like critical by giving an alternative to when he was criticizing Gandhi. He provided a simply because it was neither just a realistic nor practically. So he further argued that one need to be like sentimental, humanitarian, and not just religious fanatic in order to denounce the present order of the society in the countries where capitalism strongly rules. So capitalism was like first unavoidable, and it will not collapse because the sentimental humanitarian will find it fully cruelty, cruelty and injustice, but because of its own contradictions. So Gandhi's role was very significant over here to conceptualize the adverse like economic impact of India of capitalism that it introduced into India in form of the largest capitalist industries at the cost of the handicrafts and other indigenous efforts. So he not only did articulate the devastating nature of the Western capitalism, he was also like radically like altered nature to the anti-British political campaign of the moderate and extremist varieties. So we can see that despite all the limited goal of he gave of satyagraha due to his inherent weaknesses, it was therefore like penetrated in the village, and it was rudely like shaken to the resignation of masses of India. So there was no doubt that Gandhi like contributed to the articulation of the mass movement, and he categorized a huge popular upheaval. So he also concluded that he was like in eminent with the popular upheavals that was inspired by Gandhi, and he organized the principle he devised and was like a social outburst, and it was the rise of the socially revolutionary force uncompromising, and which was not practical possible in our country. So the cult of the non-violence we can see was a very convenient tool for Gandhi nationalist political forces because they were indirectly supporting imperialism. And Roy predicted that both these forces will bury the whole order of a society and carry them to a crusade against this war in the revolution with the very menace of the society vested in their own interests. So the idea of non-cooperation due on non-violence was just like a clock to pursue a narrow vested interest at the cost of the majority. So he also quoted from Amrita Bazar Patrika that Roy argued that Gandhi did not invent the strategy of non-cooperation. He wanted to simply to find and organize an outer expression to the latent discontent in the country, and Gandhi saw this danger to his latent discontent. So he was drawing an attention to the withdrawal of the non-cooperation. So Roy sought to prove his point according to him, and Gandhi called off the movement because he apprehended a very revolutionary outburst challenging the ideological basis of Gandhi's non-cooperation movement. So Gandhi's Swaraj was also like doomed to fail because of the time was gone when people could be inspired by the vague promises that was made by Swaraj. So Roy further like outlined the various program of revolutionary parties. First, the nationalist independence, complete break from the empire, and a democratic republic would be established on universal adult franchise. Second, abolition of feudalism and landlordism. Third, nationalization of land, and none of the cultivator will have the land of land holding. Fourth, modernization of agriculture. Fifth, nationalization of mines. Sixth, development of modern industries. Seventh, protection of workers, minimum wages, 8-hour day, and abolition of child labor insurance. 8, we have free and compulsory primary education. 9, freedom of religion and worship. And 10th, we have rights of minority. So rights, so basically Roy gave a very critical alternative to the Congress-led nationalist movement that was more More he was like reconciliatory than very less revolutionary. Now let's talk about the radical humanism. As we know, it was the ultimate theoretical construction of M.N. Roy, and the philosophy of radical humanism that he gave represents the zenith of the intellectual journey that was his spanning journey that for over a period of time for 10 years 30 years, sorry. So it appears that he was very unfortunate for the intellectually sound fertile mind, and Roy was like a meandered on very diverse direction that no systematic, consistent, pragmatic and acceptable theory could be evolved by many of his following among the Indian masses. So he gave a concept of new humanism that lies on the frustration of Roy with the subtle like characteristics of Marxism that was based on it. So initially Roy tried to like evolve his own radical perspective of humanism, which still had a lot of ode towards Marxism. So we can see he was very satisfied even with the radical incarnation, and we can see his final move was by propounding a very integral scientific humanism that we also know that is also like called as the new humanism. And the humanism was enriched, enforced, elaborated by all the scientific knowledge, and there was social experience that gained from over a century period of time. So the core of radical humanism of Roy basically lies in laying the great emphasis on the personality of individual as a human being, and he was very critical of the theories and perspective which did not have an individual as a focal point of analysis. So we can see that his opposition of Marxism was from the among others because of the undue stress of the phenomena of class struggle that in which the human being actually lost their own individuality and became part of the another class. So we can see at the same time he tried to denounce the framework of the nationalism also, apparently due to the fact of the subsumed personality of human being within the meta construction of the nation and nationhood. So he gave the first there are the human being has a, like the central agent of new humanism of M.N. Roy was supposed to be categorized by the three fundamental elements. First is the reason, second is morality, third is freedom. So he gave like diversity in the nature and characteristic by a very vast majority of people. So Roy talks about that the rationality is based on our reasoning, and which is a very unifying element in every human being, and that to bring the notion of harmony in the universe. So by taking every man as a very essentially rational, Roy also like very convincingly he argues that the behavior of every person in the world is rational, though it may also appear to be very irrational at times, but it was owing to the differences of patterns of life that is there throughout the various parts of the world. So there was like the innate nationality that was there in every human being by being the devolves on him and the capability of discovering, rediscovering the laws of nature, and there are many hidden bondages which happen to be imposed on them on him from time being. The second one is the morality. So morality, as we know, constitute a very significant trait of a man that is conceptualized by M.N. Roy, and he was a quick enough to discard the notion of morality was based on institutional and transcendental pillars. So we can see by applying the canons of Marxian training, Roy also argues that the morality stems from scientific application on human rationality to the dynamics of the social relation and the mutual adjustment of the people with one another. So he was also saying that in this given innate unifying and the creative value of morality in a society, Roy asserts that it aims to be translating into reality the collective and common good for the whole society. The third one is the freedom. In the freedom, he tries to like epitomize the crux of biological struggle of the self-protection, multiplication of the human beings into a very somewhat hostile nature. So we can also see the human being's quest to like finding the old laws of natures and with the dynamics of the functioning of cosmos has the ultimate objective of providing them with a certain clues that will enable him to get rid of the restriction imposed by nature. So the product that was the enterprise's freedom for a man, and therefore the notion of freedom he argues over here is very enabled elements of humanism, individualism and rationalism. So the application of rationality by the individual in the search for knowledge culminates his final analysis into the idea of humanism. So the new humanism is culmination of the reason, morality, freedom of human beings. They provide a very cosmopolitan perspective to the theory of new humanism. So Roy clearly points out that the new humanism is the cosmopolitan, which means the common or spiritually free person will not be limited by any boundaries of national states, capitalist, fascist, or socialist, communist, or any other kind, in which he gradually disappears under the impact in the 20th century of Renaissance of a man. So the cosmopolitan of the new humanism goes beyond the notion of internationalism, and it was based on the assumption of pledging the existence of the various nation states in the world. So new humanism also proposes the antagonisms between the vibrancy of nation state and the concept of the cosmopolitanism. So the realization of the dream of establishing a cosmopolitan becomes a very conditional fact to the nation state because they become neutralized also. So now let's talk about the organized democracy. So the notion of organized democracy was the hallmark of the political dimension of the new humanism by M.N. Roy. And being a Democrat, he also said that the classical parliamentary form of democracy is still prevalent in the West. So to him, the democratic political setup was also like the must be facilitated by participative citizenry and in the country, which was a liberal parliamentary democracy seemed to have been failed miserably. At the same time, Roy also denounced the communist democratic system characterized by the notion of democratic centralism, aimed to dismantle the same. But his conception of organized democracy was expected to serve every people that would lie at the root of democratic system, and it would not be like structured on the heavy top model where there are higher ups and it would stick over the lower rung of leadership. On the other hand, there is like functional vibrancy to the system that were also provided to the local people's committee by lying at the root of the democratic system, as they would remain the source of power for the higher levels of democratic institutions. Now let's talk about the economic dimension over here. So by elaborating the dimension of humanism, Roy also pleads for the economic reorganization of society that is actually free from exploitation of one man by another, that is leading to the establishment of cooperative economy. So for this, he gave his idea on the hopes of planned economic development on the virtue of cooperation and decentralization. So the communal pattern of social growth would also be yielded on the maximum individual freedom to all men of society. And Roy gave many factors of the role of the state is very important for all the economic activities of men, and he considered it some sort of necessary evil. So the conduct of economic activities in a society in a very communal manner was disturbed by the origin of private property. So the obvious probability by ensuing the disagreements amongst the individual necessitated that the creation of some sort of regulatory mechanism to maintain its own minimum order was to conduct the economic activities of the people. So Roy maintains that the advent of the mechanism of the state is neither due to the social contract nor to the superimposed on the society. So another crucial factor of the philosophy of M.N. Roy was found in the is a feasibility analysis that was prevailing the socio-economic and the political circumstances in our country. So we can see over here there was apart from delineating the political framework of the theory of new humanism, Roy's gay calls for the abolition of all the political parties, the conduct of political activities in our country to evolve a model of humanistic politics. So such assertions were made by him despite being an intellectual coherent, congruent and morally high sounded. All the flat face were there in from the practical value for a country. We can also see over here that it has not been illustrated to give very concrete example by Roy also, that how a modern democratic government could be run without the existence of political parties as a primary institution for articulating their views on the people of the country in a society, which in the final analysis becomes the basis of the policies and programs on various parties. So now let's conclude this presentation. So we can see the discussion basically suggests the two distinct phases of M.N. Roy. The first, we can see his instant blindly following Marxism without grasping the colonialism and the nationalism that is prevailing in our country. And second, that Roy interpreted the Marxism in a very creative manner in our society. So he suggested the nationalist forces needed to strengthen its colonies and he provided very crucial inputs to the Marxists who failed to grasp the historical importance of the indigenous bourgeois in the particular historical context. So this was undoubtedly a very innovative idea which was useful in organizing the masses against the colonialism, and especially when the Communist Party remained a very practical peripheral. So we can see the new humanism of M.N. Roy was based on the fresh perspective of system of the life that was prevalent in India. And during this time we can see there was a national movement, and apparently we can see the most astounding feature of new humanism seems to be reassociation for the certain values to the basic of the realization of the good for the people.